think this is a good note for everybody out there.
He says that I don't pull well on TikTok, so
He doesn't. It's just a fact.
It
It just doesn't pull well. It's called social media for a reason, and it's not selfish media.
I just gotta clear something up. You weren't the 12th man on the field.
There is no easy way to get anything ever.
This is Mornings with Matt, the Deering Acting Studio podcast, where we discuss the connection between life and acting.
Boom. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt on the Deering Acting Studio podcast. So happy to have you here today. This is a very important topic. I didn't know how to label this one because it was so important, and I don't know. I feel like my title's boring. Emotion and repetition. I don't know. But that's kind of part of the point, I guess, because repetition is so powerful and so important when it comes to habits, which is something we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I got the title yesterday, I was like, "Is this it? This isn't very catchy."
Okay,
Matt's titles are usually pretty catchy, but then I was thinking about it, and I was like, same idea. I was like, as far as what it is, it's important. And
yeah,
then
you
I
just dug
better...
yourself out of that.
What?
You just dug yourself out of that moment.
Out of what moment?
The moment when I was about to rip on you for not telling me that you didn't like the title.
Yeah, no. I
was like, Joey, you know better. You know better than to not tell me when you don't like something.
Yeah, I like the topic was the issue, and I couldn't think of anything better myself. So.
Well, here's the problem. So what sounds better is emotional repetition. It just sounds better. But tomorrow's emotional freedom, and I didn't want two emotionals in a row.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm like, emotional repetition. It's kind of what we're going to talk about, but not really. So anyway, yeah. Anyway, this is actually a really powerful episode. So I hope people watch it, despite the title, despite the censorship.
Censorship.
All right, here we go. Daily devotional. We've got Philippians 4:4. There's a band that's just like, they like to. Okay. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice.
Again.
You see what I did there, Joe?
Again, I will say rejoice.
You like that?
Yeah.
Rejoice in the Lord. When?
Again.
No, always.
I know. I'm just kidding.
Always. So to do something always would require a lot of repetition.
And he picked this one because he repeats himself in the Bible verse. It says, rejoice in the Lord always.
Always.
Again, I will say rejoice.
Rejoice in the Lord
repetition.
Always. And let's break down the word rejoice.
Rejoice. Ooh. Means like get hype.
That's right. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
To rejoice.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're talking about repetition and emotions and the power of repetition and how emotions are gonna play into this factor. So here's the deal. The greatest motivational speakers that are out there, people like Tony Robbins and such. Even Gary Vee is this way. You name it. Whoever the person is you like to go to. Matthew Deering. You know what I'm saying. Whoever you like to go to for your dose of positivity and your dose of motivation, they understand this phenomenon. And that is that big emotion connected to repetition creates habits and is sort of essential. It's the most powerful force to change your life for good or for bad. And this is how people get stuck into, so we can go into the bad if we want. This is how people get stuck into negative patterns. So let's just say you try something like a drug. And while you're on the drug, something happens that causes you to feel some sort of big happy emotion, some sort of euphoric emotion. And a lot of drugs do that in and of themselves. So then you do it again, you repeat it, and then you feel the big emotion. And all of a sudden, you've attached this emotion to this repetition.
Mm-hmm.
So then you repeat it in order to feel the emotion or in order to try to get back to that emotion. And so you start to attach something to that. And then before you know it, you're stuck in this pattern. And you may not even be feeling the emotion anymore, but you needed the big emotion or else you'd never get hooked.
Facts. I remember you told me about this with Frank Caliendo when he comes in. Because he always... repeats
yeah.
for me, where he'll come in and he'll go, "You still work here?"
It's every time.
And then he'll just go, and it's like so funny, but it like at this point I'm just like, I know he's gonna do it if he sees me, like every time.
But what happens is you felt a few emotions. Frank Caliendo has a way of getting laughter out of people.
Yeah.
So he pulls this big emotion out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you feel special because Frank Caliendo remembers you, and that's like knowing your name, like taking the time to, you're right.
Yeah.
Talk to you. So now you feel important, you feel special, and you're attached joyful laughter, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then he attaches the repetition to it. And before you know it, it's like that's left a lasting impression from the impressionist.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just that's like a life application there. Is there's certain people that do that. And I notice it because of that example a lot with like different youth pastors I've met or church leaders,
people
like,
who are
all over the
successful.
place.
People who are
Yeah.
successful at creating relationships know how to do this thing. I got to backtrack for 2 seconds though, and I got to ask you if you're listening really, really well, because I just said that left a lasting impression from the impressionist. That's really fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
It
fun.
really is. And Frank Caliendo is the #1 impressionist. He really is.
I'm not even gonna lie. Damn Donald is the best video. Ever seen.
Well, you
so
know,
funny.
yeah,
This wall should go all the way through. By the way,
it really should. All right, so so we deal with repetition quite a bit actually here at the studio. We usually use the Sandy Meisner / William Esper approach to the Meisner technique, and we've got our own spin on it. But we do a lot of repetition in the classroom, especially in the script class, in order to help us get to truth. So what's interesting is I wanted to ask this question out loud and actually just sort of try to decipher through this today with you, Joey, and the audience, which is, why do you suppose it is that repetition in the acting classroom leads to big emotions? I find that to be a curious thing if you think about it, because on paper, here's what we're doing. When we do repetition in the classroom, we're repeating essentially the same thing the other person said, but like reversing it. Like, you've got a gray shirt, I've got a gray shirt, you've got a gray shirt, I've got a gray shirt, until there's a change that happens, and then you pay attention to the change and you move. And so it's interesting because you're kind of beginning by taking away all the emotion, sort of,
Sure.
in the process of learning how to do it properly. But then once you learn all the way, you get to the place where we're going to get to tomorrow on the show, which is emotional freedom. So why, Joey, do you suppose that big emotions somehow are coming from this repetition?
Well, that's a great question.
Right?
I think part of it is what you just said. So specifically with the Meisner training, when you're repeating back and forth, it can seem super stale, if like on a surface level. But then when you're in it, because the dialogue is the same and you're repeating, you're really looking at the like tiny things in the other person, whether it's their eye, whether it's a forehead crinkle,
Yeah.
you know. And so from that repetition, it allows you to zone in and really focus on somebody at a higher level than we're used to focusing on someone.
Good. So when you say that, the other side of that, so one side is we're helping you focus more. The reverse of that is we're helping you not get distracted. We're helping you release your own ego, release your self-awareness. And that's where big emotions come from. Big emotions come from when I'm not worried about what you're going to think of me, because I feel like I'm in a safe place to be truthful, to be my authentic, truthful self.
Yeah.
So, and that's great. And tomorrow we're going to be dealing with once we get to that big emotion, how awesome the freedom can be when we're there, the emotional freedom. But it's super hard to be there, and that's why it's super hard to be a great actor, actually.
Yeah. Well, and that's a skill, that heightened listening. You know, you used to just do Meisner as like its own course.
Yeah.
In place of the script. So you had script and then you had a Meisner class where people came for like 2 hours once a week, and people were in there for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to learn. Like, it doesn't come naturally necessarily. Like, it takes a lot of work. But I saw the difference, and I remember I was much younger, but I saw the difference in those actors. Just in their regular performances after being in that program for so long, like how it would progress and how drastic sometimes it would progress.
Yeah.
Which was really cool.
So this actually happened to me last night. A good example of how we can use this in our lives, and we're gonna talk more about this when we come back from commercial break. But you're gonna play that later, okay?
Yeah.
All right. You also get to see a viral hit that I did with Frank Caliendo when we get back.
I didn't realize that was his background video.
Well, dude,
it
got millions and millions of views. I mean,
millions
worldwide. It really did. So here's what happened. Okay. As you know, I try to be as honest as I possibly can. And I say try to because there are certain things that you want to be depending on the point of your show, and this show is to uplift people and to help people think and you know, hopefully get closer to God and closer to self and become a better person, all through acting. So there's certain topics that I don't care to go too deep into on this particular show, because I don't want half the people to, you know, just be all angry. But I try to be as honest as I can about my own struggles, as you all know. And I've been honest recently about the struggle to be getting back into the book writing. And the show is a part of that struggle. It's a part of the pain point, because I've been back to teaching back to late nights at the studio, and then I'm trying to keep up with my early mornings, and then I got to prep for the show. So it's like, it's tough. But what's interesting is I met with a student recently, and I told her, because I respect her, that she can call me out on my book writing. Because I told her how important it is that the book gets finished, so that I can start working on the next thing. Because the next thing's very important. And she said, okay, I'll do it. Well, I haven't heard from her. It's been like a week, maybe a week and a half since we met. Well, last night she's here at the studio, and I'm kind of cruising through the studio, and she's like, "How's the book writing coming, Matt?" And I looked at her and I said, "It's not." Publicly, in front of everybody, right there in the lobby. That's because that's the truth. It has been lackluster the last week and a half. So here's what you do, okay? I took that, allowed myself to feel the emotion. What's the emotion? It's embarrassment. It's the truth of being called out. Let myself feel it. From the big emotion, jumped right into repetition this morning, got 2 shows ahead, and wrote in the book.
Dang!
And this is the power of having other people hold you accountable, asking other people to hold you accountable, being willing to be critiqued, and being willing to feel. It's so easy in that place to lie. So easy. Seemingly, I have nothing to lose on the surface. Because somebody could say, "How's the book coming?" And I could say, "Good, thanks," and walk through.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Instead, I said the truth publicly, which made me feel a little bit of embarrassed motivation. Call it that. If I were to have said, "Good, thanks," I would have felt shame.
Awful.
Shame. I would have felt shame and guilt. Shame and guilt does not lead to motivation.
Those are not godly emotions, everyone. It says it multiple times in the Bible.
And it doesn't, and it wouldn't have come from a place of truth. So we do need to go to commercial break. But when we come back, I want to dive into that idea, because that's probably why. I mean, it's got to be the number one reason why we get to these big emotions off of repetition, because the repetition, the whole point of it is to get to truth. And from truth, you can, that's the only way to get to what we're going to get to tomorrow, which is emotional freedom. So we will talk about that here in a few minutes. Once we go to commercial break, we will come back and we'll finish off with a quick takeaway on emotions and repetition, how you can form some great habits yourself. We'll be right back.
My experience with Phoenix casting has been pretty much legit. Like, ever since I started like modeling and acting, I've been coming here.
If you're an actor in Arizona, you need to know about the Daring Acting Studio, and you need to get here. They'll make you feel like you belong.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So I think it's great that you guys are continuing to innovate, not just resting back and saying, "Oh, this is just the way it is." And in these days, because of virtual casting, some of these big projects that are on either coastline, now a lot of actors have the opportunities to at least submit.
It was so uplifting and encouraging, and it's such a refreshing sense to get as an actor, to be uplifted and encouraged and taught to do that to everybody that you're in a scene with.
We always recommend Deering Acting Studios just because we know how important it is to hone your skills and hone your talent and always be practicing. And it's like a sport, you know, you have to go in and practice. You can't just jump into something and think you're going to be a star. So
What I learned about during this workshop is to be yourself and to not to be afraid to be yourself and be authentic.
And that's one thing I gotta say about you guys, and you guys have been amazing. When our team submits, you know, it's like you guys give us really a great selection at audition. And so I think that's great, and I appreciate the opportunities you give our talent.
Do yourself a favor, come down to Deering to Phoenix Casting. You won't regret it. These guys are great. So accommodating. It's a fun, lively, always a great time. So no stress, come down and knock it out of the park. Thanks guys, I appreciate it.
Circle up, please.
Your lives will all be changed and you'll grow if you really learn to listen in this way.
Will you help me kill her?
You have to react to that from his point of view as honestly as possible.
Punch him in the face. No, you don't know nothing. Come on.
As soon as you've solved the puzzle, the scene's over.
Hey! I'll lead you, yeah. All right, welcome back. Yeah, I'll lead you. Yeah, I will. So
I'll lead you, yeah.
I'll lead you anyway. All right, so Joey, let's go ahead and play that. This is a Damn Donald video that myself and Frank put together. So for context, though, you have to know that there was a viral video that went out called "Damn Daniel." So anybody who hasn't seen that, he walked around with white, was it Converse or something?
Vans,
white Vans, and so I did an impression of the kid whose voice is behind the cell phone, and we basically just sort of like poked fun at that video, and Frank did a spot on Trump impression simultaneously.
These were the best videos. I used to look forward to these videos because you were doing them weekly.
Yeah.
And I was like, can't wait for my next If Trump Were video.
Dude,
so funny.
They're hilarious.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Damn Donald, 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 back at it again with the white van. Damn Donald, damn Donald, damn Donald, damn Donald, damn Donald. Damn Donald, damn Donald, damn Donald, Donald, damn 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 Donald.
Is that all you can say is damn Donald?
Damn, Donald.
This wall should go all the way through, by the way.
Damn.
That's the wall to my apartment. I have a strong connection to that wall.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Is that all you can say is damn Donald? Damn Donald.
So, and you know, if we go to Frank, actually, and we talk about why he's such a great impressionist, he finds a way to get to truth, and it's his truth. And he explained something to me before, which was that most actors or people who try to do impressions, they end up doing an impression of somebody else's impression. So they don't have their own unique take on it. And Frank has a unique take on Donald Trump. He just plays like sort of the child version of him. And it's not like pro-Trump or anti-Trump. It's just a playful Trump. It's sort of all it is. And that way you can make fun of anything that's little, like sort of Seinfeld makes fun of like nothingness. He's able to do that in such a way. And then because it's his, what he did specifically there that I find as an acting coach to be so wonderful was, yes, he's doing the normal like Donald like face and stuff like that, but he also found a way to put into Donald a teenage boy with his little like arm movements and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So he did that as Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So because he was Trump, not that he was playing, like he became Trump.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, if Trump were like a teenage boy right now, how would he move his arms and show off his vans? And that's what makes it so miraculous.
Now, let me just be real here, because I'm going to read the point.
Let me be clear.
It's not a quote, but I read it and I thought it was what you wrote down, because it's very profound. It says, to create a new habit, the key is to attach a powerful emotion to an action that is repeated over and over. That sounds like a quote. Like, that's just like, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Well, good. And you know what? I did think of something, Joey. Like going back to my book.
Going back to his book.
I did have this thought the other day where I was like, you know what? Yes, okay, you haven't been writing as much, but you've also been writing a lot, like every day. You write these big old paragraphs about different things, and a lot of this is going to end up in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Like that's a nice little quote, like you said. And yes, and that's the big takeaway, Joey, actually. So we got right to it, which is to create a new habit. The key is to attach a powerful emotion to an action, which next week we're getting to actions. That's what all next week is about taking action. But to attach a powerful emotion to some sort of an action and then repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. That's why it's so important to attach an emotion and to continue attaching the emotion until it becomes a habit. Otherwise, you're not going to want to do it. You have to transfix your mind into something that's gonna turn it into a positive for you if you want to keep the habit. Otherwise, you can do the opposite, where you can expose yourself to the negative feeling, a big negative feeling, and then you'll not want to feel that feeling again. But you gotta be careful of that, because that happens to us unknowingly a lot, and then that's when we get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Because this is an acting studio, I want to jump into this quote here really quick.
Dare I say the acting studio? I mean, listen.
I don't know. You can. I can't.
I will say it.
Yeah,
I will say it. This is home, man. This is home. That's it.
Thanks, Doug.
This
Thanks.
is the acting studio.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And and I don't ever see it that way. Because I just never could. I never would want to be like, we're the one. Like I'm always, because maybe I'm even afraid of that. Because if we don't have someone to chase, it's hard. Everyone knows it's hard to be number one.
Yeah.
You got a target on your back. As soon as you become the place, trust me, everybody wants to be the place.
Mm-hmm.
Except me.
Yeah.
I want to be the place, but I don't want to think that we're the place.
Yeah.
Which
is smart in your position. It's totally smart, because then you always have the underdog mentality. You're always, like you said, chasing something. But I only say that because A, I was a student for forever, but B, like, personally, I found myself here, and I know that has been the case for a lot of people. And so it's so much bigger than acting. Well,
and you're right, and that is what we do, is we help people find themselves, actually, and that's why the reviews are so powerful, and that's why word of mouth is the way we advertise, and it's also this struggle that I've always had, and I still have to this day, with marketing, because it's like, how do you capture that in a brochure that doesn't sound like you're full of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's tough to take people through a journey and be like, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're going to be changed. You're not going to be the same person. You're going to walk out better than you came in, and we're in acting school. And they're like, what? How? Like, you know, and that's why it's hard to define in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I totally get it, because I do our videos. you know, you and I spend sometimes weeks on our promo videos because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because you got to get all the right stuff in there. And how hard is that when we can barely explain what we do? It's more just like speaks for itself.
All right, so jumping into acting here really quick. I'm going to change subjects harshly.
Do it.
This person, Fiona Shaw, says, theater is dangerously open to repetition. It's exciting when you hit a new way. Okay, so this person is saying, when it comes to theater, which obviously is important to us here, and theater just being entertainment, being shows, being whatever, dangerously close to repetition, meaning the repetition, the same old is boring, is dangerous. So what's interesting is you got to do the repetition, but the truth is, if you're doing it right, it's never the same ever. Even the repetition, it's never the same. If you know what you're looking for, that's the whole cool part of it, is when people first start doing the exercises here with us, they think that we're stripping them away of all their freedoms. But actually, we're giving them freedom that they've never had before.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a while to sort of strip down the ego first and then come into it with a new perspective.
Yeah.
And it's so very cool to watch this happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this person is saying it's dangerous if we get to a place where it's repetition. It's exciting to find a new way. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely, which is why I was asked, you know, and I get asked this a lot, like, what's the curriculum? And I'm like, it's an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
I've written a 3-year, 4-year curriculum 2 or 3 times now. And as I've said, by the time I'm done writing the curriculum, I don't agree with how to start anymore, because I've grown, I've developed. And if it took me 6 months or 3 months or whatever, I go back and I'm like, well, yeah, we could teach it that way, but there's also another way we could teach it. And like, in which way do I want to go? And so it's what makes the classes here so powerful and so special, but it's also what makes it difficult to scale this business, which I know is a problem. All the business people out there are like, yeah, but you got to scale. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
Because some of the scaling processes go against my values. It's like this. It's like we go through the pandemic right now in this last year, and then you watch the 25 richest companies in the world become something like I don't know what it is, trillions and trillions of dollars richer during the pandemic, while everybody else is locked at home, losing their jobs, suffering. The 25 top companies become something like 25% more wealthy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, you know? So it's one of those things where you start to question, and you're like, I don't know. I don't know that I can do that. Like, I understand they've figured out a way to template. They've figured out a way to create a formula. But at a certain point, where's the moral? Where's the morals there? You know?
Yeah, 100%. I was, gosh, I had a point.
It's probably a good one, Joe.
It was probably a good one. It really felt like a good one. Oh, it was about memorization with monotone, which is why you have us do it that way for the repetition.
Right.
So you, in Masterclass and all of our programs, but Masterclass, you hit it super hard specifically, is freaking memorize without emotion, like a robot, as fast as you can, all the way through first.
Right.
And gosh, that's so hard.
So hard.
I'm going through it right now with memorizing with Brian. And
I'm very excited for your scene, by the way.
Me too. It's gonna be so fun. I'm thankful to be back in class again. But just going through that every time we do the scene, I have to constantly remind myself and catch myself not to put any juice on anything yet. Because otherwise, I know, because I've done it in masterclass before, and whether it got caught or didn't, I know I did it, where I would say a certain line the same way every single time, because that's how I memorized it. And when you do that, when you memorize the pacing or the emotion of the line, it's really hard to change it.
Yeah.
Because you don't see the choices anymore. You've already engraved one choice into your head. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah, so true. All right, so here's our big takeaway for the day.
Drum roll, please.
Sure.
Yay.
Ask yourself this question. What in your life is really important to you? And something might have come to your mind. And then I'm going to challenge that thing. And I'm going to say, you might think that's important. But here's what's really important in your life. So instead of going to that like touchy-feely something thing, go to the place where you're going to go, all right, what's really important to me? What do I do every day? What do I do all the time? What do I think about a lot? What do I have big emotions attached to? That's what's important to you. And knowing that that's going to cause you to continue to repeat it unless you disturb the pattern, you may want to get rid of some of the things that are currently important to you. Or maybe not. You know, maybe you like the way you're heading and you want to heighten it. But a lot of times we'll look, and if we take an honest, deep look at what we've created that's become important to us, we can start to decipher what needs to go and what new things need to come in. Because then I can ask you the same question and say, what are you not doing every day? And what have you not attached big emotion to toward some sort of a goal? Like Brian's been in a better mood since you guys started the scene. And part of that came from me inspiring him and telling him, like, you can be an actor. Remember, dude. Remember, there's nothing holding you or anybody else back. You can. And all of a sudden he starts landing gigs and he's like, oh yeah. And then he said, well, what am I going to do every day? I'm going to be doing repetition on learning lines. And I know that that's hard for Brian specifically, but at the same time, his brain is growing again. He's getting back into a place where he's developing in a way that he loves to develop. But he hadn't been doing that since the last time he was in masterclass.
Yeah. And
therefore, it's interesting how much your mood and everything changes, and even your health. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. No, and it's funny because he jokes around with me because he's not as good as memorizing as I am right now. And he's like, but I have more lines. And I was like, well, good for you. And I was like, that's cool. Just like hit it hard. And he has been, man. He's been like, any free time he has been on that, and totally makes sense. I didn't even put the 2 and 2 together, but you're totally right. It's that idea of having a
He's so lucky he's not here because I would rip on him right now. I hate excuses. I just can't stand it. I can't stand it.
That's funny.
You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. It's the difference. That reaction's the difference between when Saya says to me, hey, how's your book writing coming? And I throw an excuse her way.
Damn.
Oh, well, I got a baby coming. Oh, I got this. Oh, I got this. Excuse. Or it's like, it's not embarrassment. Do something about it.
Damn.
So Brian, I'm better memorized than you. And it's like, yes, you are. You worked harder at memorizing than I did. I'm working on it now. Shame on me. I'm grinding. Not, well, I got more lines than you. I got more lines.
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, holy crud. Did he just like flip the show right back to where we were in the beginning? That was a great
Did I do
segue
that?
There. Yeah, we started with the you and Saya story, and then you came back to it, tying it into this.
I guess we did do that.
It was pretty magical. Did I do that?
Did I do that? What's that from? Do you know?
No.
Oh, are you serious?
I can't remember. No.
It's so funny, man. When you get older, the stuff that was so prevalent in your life, it's so interesting how irrelevant it becomes.
Yeah.
This was from a show called Family Matters. The star was this like nerdy guy. What was his name? I can't remember his name now. This character's name, but he was hilarious, and he had these glasses, and he was like, he played a nerdy guy, and he was like, "Did I do that?" and I'm telling you, everybody, my dad would have known it. I knew it as a kid. Everyone would have been able to know it because it was literally like, it was the thing. It was the show.
Yeah.
Like it was the show that everyone knew, and so guarantee. Oh, Steve Urkel, that was his name.
Yeah. I knew it.
See, you've even heard of Steve Urkel, and you don't even know.
Astrid's comment just came through because they're behind it. She said, Urkel!
Urkel, yes, that's right, Astrid, Urkel. And so you don't even know the show, but you've heard of Steve Urkel. That's how big it was, right? You understand that my kids have never and will never hear of the name Steve Urkel, which reminds us how irrelevant so many things are.
Yeah.
So be careful of what you focus on. That's the interesting thing.
Facts.
Did I do that? All right. Did you had 2 points? I don't know.
My second point was I was just going to come to defense for Brian.
Oh
really
no,
quick.
I don't want to hear this. Are you kidding me right now?
Listen.
Jeez Louise, Joey.
I may not have framed it right.
Okay.
So I can't remember exactly what I said. But
I have more lines than you.
So he did say that, but he didn't say but I said you have more lines than me.
You said it?
It was flipped because he was like I'm bummed because I'm struggling to keep up with you, and I'm like working really hard on it. And I was like, well, you have more monologues than I do, and like you are keeping up, so like good job. And then
that's a totally different story, Joey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was worried that I said it wrong the first time.
Well, you definitely did.
Yeah, which is fine. But I didn't want him to be on bias because he does.
Okay, so here, it's great, people. Now I'm going to go on a whole nother tangent. I was trying to end the show here. I'm trying to end the show, and Joey's bringing this stuff up. Here's the deal. Be willing to be wrong. Find facts. You see, this story was just told 2 different ways. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Think about that. Think about that for what's going on in the world right now. Okay, this is the same story, and he's like, well, actually, let me reframe that because I said it a certain way, and now that I hear the way it sounds, maybe I should go backwards and actually tell you the real truth. I'm like, oh, okay. So now my critique, Joey, is for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you hear that critique, maybe Brian would be like, well, it wasn't exactly like that, or maybe it is. So Brian's complaining, it sounds like, about the fact that he's not keeping up with you. And complaining is the wrong word. He's bummed, he says. I'm bummed I'm not keeping up with you in memorizing. And you say, you give him the excuse. You say, but you got more monologues and you are keeping up. What you could have said, potentially, is, you're right, you're not keeping up. You got more monologues than me, which means you have to work twice as hard as me. Get to work.
I did say that.
See? You see? I don't even get the full story around here.
Repeating these conversations is really hard on the spot because I'm trying to. You know that my problem on this show that I've grown through has been giving too much information. So when I think of something that I think helps, I try to slim it down, but sometimes I get myself in trouble because I forget details. So, but I made a quick terrible illustration because I liked what you said there.
Joey Sweeney's terrible illustration. Yeah, for sure. And I would I would even like add to that and just say.
Would you like to add to that?
Well, no. What I mean is, okay. So people say there's one story, there's one side of the story, and then there's the other side of the story, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not the first person to say that, obviously. But my perspective is even the middle can be a hard place. And I think I like your graph there. I think it slides. I think the truth needs to be malleable. It's got to be something that's not static, that can be movable. The truth is an ever evolving thing. And when we understand that, people, that's when we are progressing as human beings, because we're not stuck into saying this is the way it is. There's no other way.
Just for our viewers, because I needed to look it up, malleable means easily movable.
Right.
So
right.
It's a big word, you know. So I thought I would share.
Hey, thanks, Joey.
Yeah.
All right.
Good show.
I think I'm done getting to the bottom of you and Brian's conversations now.
I'm sure there will be more of it.
I meant for this moment.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I'll be digging in immediately. No. Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We sure appreciate you. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share. And you know what? Yes, I mean, help us spread this light-driven content throughout the planet, and God bless. And also, do me a favor. If somebody's out there who has not bought Acting Is My Day Job, 7 Strategies to Market and Make Money as an Actor, try to find it and buy it right now, because I'm curious. I think Amazon put the censorship on me.
What?
It's kind of crazy, dude. I wasn't paying attention to sales because they were just sort of steady. And all of a sudden, they just dropped like a hammer.
That's creepy.
I know.
We're not even like
out of nowhere.
Crazy.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just dropped. I'm talking 0.
Dang.
So I'm wondering if it's even like if it's hard to find, you know? Because it used to be you start typing in something about acting and business and stuff, and the book would populate and be right there, and people have been giving good reviews and everything. But I feel like they buried it. I feel like they buried my acting book.
Dang.
And it's just like a how to become a better actor and a better person kind of book. So I don't know why they'd be burying that kind of book, but
well, they can do all they want, but it will live. And I'll tell you, the best listener in the room, when that drops, they can't bury that. That's gonna be.
Trust me.
They're
gonna try, because that book is gonna speak truth, and it will be an evolving truth, and it will be one that makes people think, hopefully. And makes people want to dig deeper. And unfortunately, yes, a lot of companies right now don't want people to do that. So that's about it. I'll leave it there, Joey.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.
Have a chippy day, everyone. Rough.